In mobile technology, it's the same story every single time. The media goes crazy over every hot new device, and after that review period wears off, so does the buzz behind that new toy you might still want to buy, but that now faces new competition. In the real world, things shouldn't be that way. For most of us, aging is just as important as the moment you unbox your product for the first time. It's how that device performs after extensive use that really matters down the line. So, let's do something about it. Let's take a second look at one of the best iPhone clones ever, given how close its flagship successor already is. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is the HTC One A9 After the Buzz. For some of us who grew up seeing smartphones take shape and form, returning to an HTC device just feels like home. HTC is famous for eye-catching design on phones built to last, and that holds true on the One A9. At least 3 or 4 people have approached me over the last week to ask me what this phone is, and none of them have really mentioned the word iPhone, even if the resemblance is obvious. This review unit has been actively used by at least 2 Pocketnow editors before spending the last 2 months with me. It was used without a case since those aren't really easy to come by, and even then this phone has really aged gracefully. The 6063 aluminum alloy may be dated for 2016 standards, but it still looks like new and feels great in the hand. The sheet of Gorilla Glass 3 has also survived extensive use quite well at first glance, though it didn't do so without a scratch if you expose it to warm light. Other aspects of the device haven't really aged at all, but do mark an interesting departure from the HTC that we knew. As a premium mid-ranger, the One A9 follows the trend of competitors with a gorgeous 5-inch AMOLED display locked at 1080p. Just as the first day, it performs beautifully, but the implementation is rather odd. The deep contrast and saturation of AMOLED is present in almost everything you do, but once you jump into things like the icon pack, we don't understand why these look dull even when compared to other HTC phones on a Super LCD. The same goes for changes like the speakers, and especially when more affordable HTC devices sport some sort of boom sound. Sure, the speaker does mimic the iPhone in both placement and loudness, but it definitely is not boom sound. I'm not sure if by Dolby Sound HTC meant that it only enhances the experience through the headphones, but overall it's not the HTC experience that we've come to love.
And it's time for a good old-fashioned grudge match.
Still, you have to keep in mind that the One A9 is not a successor to the One M9, and instead the company's push into the premium mid-range. As such, using it is actually better than what you'd think. Performance over the Snapdragon 617 on 3 gigs of RAM has been solid for day-to-day tasks, and the 2150 mAh battery usually does a decent job at keeping things up during the day. The combo doesn't really do so well in intensive games given the dropped frames here and there, but at this tier, it kinda comes with the territory. The company did keep its promise of pushing Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 to this phone on a recent software update, but remember that the charger bundled in the box doesn't really do the job, or at least there's no real way to confirm. And speaking of software updates, that's another thing that HTC has done right. This continues to be one of the few phones running Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, and software updates and patches have kept coming over the last few weeks. As a result, HTC Sense 7 continues to be one of my favorite Android skins to date. App load times are quick, switching between them is a breeze, and I still find this UX to be one of the most elegant out there. Other cool details like the front-facing fingerprint scanner continue to be one of my favorite things about this phone. I love turning the phone on with the button, and the added convenience of using it as a home button is also cool even though the navigation keys are still there. The typical HTC gestures, like launching the camera app with the volume buttons, also join the list of little details that delight the user experience, even if using the camera is still a mixed story. Launching the application can be very slow, and photos on this phone aren't really as great as we'd want them to be. The 13-megapixel shooter with optical image stabilization is decent for daylight shooting, but follows the trend of completely losing credibility in both low light and the selfie shooter as well. At a time when HTC has spent the last few years touting the launch of phones with the best cameras, Software updates haven't really saved this phone from being just another good camera that kneels to the competition. And I guess that's the major story about the HTC One A9 after the buzz. It looks like an iPhone, it behaves like a very good Android phone, and it's aged far better than many of its competitors in both hardware and software. If you've ever wanted an iPhone running Android, it really doesn't get better than this. The only thing that I just can't get over with this phone is its crazy price tag. Even today, the One A9 is still priced at $499, challenging flagships like the Moto X Pure Edition and the Nexus 6P, and obviously every other premium mid-ranger, including even the iPhone SE. It's got a lot of things going for it, but none of them hold enough to warrant such a hefty price tag. With the HTC 10 just around the corner, it might be best for you to just hold off to see what improvements get launched. Though, I wouldn't blame you for not waiting at all and just buying every other competitor out there. Folks, there are a ton of other episodes of After the Buzz, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. In addition, you can also catch our videos on Vessel at vessel.com/pocketnow and follow me on Twitter at Jaime_Rivera or on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you on the next one.